Is intermittent fasting a shortcut to fat loss and weight loss? Is it possible that we eat whatever we want during the feeding window and still lose weight? Does intermittent fasting leads to deficiency? Do the timing of the meals really matter? What happens if we drink a chai or coffee in our fasting window? There are so many intermittent fasting methods. Which one is the best for me? We will discuss all of this and try to understand how intermittent fasting works in a very simple way. I have been practicing intermittent fasting for the last 18 months, and during this period I've lost almost 15 kg of body weight while becoming stronger and lifting heavier in the gym. Let me explain all of this in a step-by-step manner in this video. The first thing that we have to understand is the science of fat loss. This is something that I would be repeating pretty much in every single video, because if you don't understand this concept, whatever you do, you'll not be able to lose weight. This key concept is calorie restriction. As long as you are eating less than the total amount of calories you are burning, you will be losing weight. There are numerous studies to support this fact that every time that you create a calorie deficit, you end up losing weight. Every time you create a calorie surplus, you end up gaining weight. I have explained this concept in detail in my video where I've talked about the #1 diet for fat loss. You can go and watch the video after this video ends. So let's try to understand this with an example. If you are someone with a body weight of around 80 kgs and you are creating a calorie deficit of 500 calories every single day through your exercise and through your nutrition, it will take you approximately 308 days to lose 20 kgs of body weight and come down to 60 kgs. This you can calculate easily using a simple mathematical equation where every 7715 calorie deficit that you make makes you lose 1 kg of body weight. When it comes to intermittent fasting, there are broadly 6 types which people practice. The first type is alternate day fasting. As the name suggests, you fast on alternate days. So one day you eat normally and the other day you go down to, let's say, 500 calories. The second type is 5:2 diet. In this diet, you eat properly for 5 days and then you fast for 2 days which are non-consecutive. And again in these 2 days, you go down to, let's say, 400-500 calories. The third is daily time restricted eating. In this method, you eat every day, but within a window of 6 to 8 hours. The next is 12-hour fast, in which we don't eat anything for 12 hours. And this is something that we mostly practice by having dinner at 8 p.m. and having breakfast at 12 a.m. The next is the warrior diet. This is slightly difficult one in which you eat everything in a 4-hour window. You can have some veggies and some fibers during the rest of the day, but most of the calories are consumed in just a 4-hour short window. And the sixth is weekly 24-hour fast. As the name suggests, every week you fast completely for 24 hours, drinking water and some 0-calorie beverages during this period. Neither do I practice nor do I recommend implementing something extreme. We have to figure out a solution which is sustainable, which can easily be integrated in our lifestyles, which is where the daily time restrictive eating comes into picture. I have been practicing the 16:8 method for the last 18 months and it works beautifully. In this method, you essentially fast for 16 hours and then you eat within an 8-hour feeding window. Let's try to understand this through a typical Indian meal. If we look at any of our typical days, we would be having 2 idlis, 1 sambar, 1 chutney and 1 coffee in our breakfast. Then we might be having 2 plain paranthas with aloo gobi curry in our lunch. We might be having 2 cups of milk teas and 4 biscuits when it comes to snacks. And in dinner, we might be having 200 grams of rice, 200 grams of dal and 200 grams of palak paneer. Now what we see here is that the total number of calories that we have consumed in this typical meal is 2,104 calories. And the total amount of protein that we have consumed is 61 grams. Now let's simply replace the breakfast with black coffee, which is 0 calories, and keep everything else the same. What we see here now is that the total calorie has come down to 1,512 calories and the total protein has come down to 45.6 grams. This is the exact method that I have been practicing for the last 18 months. And the reason it works is that it is very simple. I don't need to prepare breakfast. Coffee is something which is easily available. and it helps me push my fasting window to 16 hours from the normal 12 hours. Similarly, you can opt for having breakfast and lunch while having water or just sparkling water or any 0-calorie drink during your dinner schedule. That way also you'll be able to ensure the 16-hour fasting window and 8-hour feeding window. But again, in this case also what you'll see is that total calorie has come down to 1544 calories and the amount of protein has come down to 37.1 grams. Basically, by skipping breakfast or by skipping dinner, we are able to bring down the total amount of calories that we are consuming in any day, which then eventually helps us lose weight over time. There was a study done to see if time restrictive eating really affects fat loss in a very different way. In this study, researchers randomly assigned 139 patients with obesity to time restricted eating only between 8 a.m. and 4 p.m. with calorie restriction or daily calorie restriction alone. For 12 months, all the participants were instructed to follow a calorie-restricted diet that consisted of 1500 to 1800 calories per day for men and 1200 to 1500 calories per day for women. The primary outcome was the difference between the two groups in the change from baseline in body weight. Secondary outcomes included changes in waist circumference, body mass index, amount of body fat, and measures of metabolic risk factors. Of the total 139 participants who underwent randomization, 118 completed the 12-month follow-up visit. The mean weight loss from baseline at 12 months was 8 kgs in the time restriction group and minus 6.3 kg in the daily calorie restriction group. Changes in weight were not significantly different in the two groups at the 12th month assessment. Result of analysis of waist circumference, BMI, body fat, body lean mass, blood pressure, and metabolic risk factors were consistent with the results of the primary outcome. In addition, there were no substantial difference between the groups in the numbers of adverse effects. Essentially, intermittent fasting is no magic bullet. It is an easy and convenient way to bring down your total calories so that you can experience that fat loss. There are few things that you must note in the example I was showing you. If you're working out, and even if you're not working out, we are supposed to have 0.8 grams of protein per kg of body weight. In this case as well, because the total protein is going down, as we are skipping a breakfast or dinner, we have to add extra protein to meet those requirements. And that can be done using a whey powder or adding boiled eggs or any other food which is rich in protein and is your favorite. I've explained this in detail in my video on protein. A few more things that you should note when you are practicing intermittent fasting. If you're eating more calories within this time window, intermittent fasting is not going to help you lose weight. If you're eating a lot of junk and processed food during the window while being within the calorie limits, you're going to have serious nutritional deficiencies. Whether you are practicing intermittent fasting or not, when you are doing calorie control, you should do regular blood check to understand which minerals and vitamins are missing in your diet so that you can supplement them from the outside. Don't just pop any pill in the market. Always base your decisions on your blood tests. When you start intermittent fasting by skipping breakfast or by skipping dinner, you would feel hungry during that period because that is how your body has adapted to in so many years. It will take almost a week for you to adjust to this new rhythm, and during this week you might have slight headaches. But after the period is over, you'll feel a lot of energy and you'll feel more productive during this time because the body will now give you energy from the fat reserves it has. If you have a medical condition, it is advisable that you consult a doctor before you start on intermittent fasting. Hoping this helps. Let me know if you have any further questions in the comment box below. This is Vivek signing off. Like, subscribe, share, and take care.